Greetings. Today I want to speak to you on the subject of Neville Goddard exposed in 2025. Now, for those of you who have been listening to me down through the years, you would have always heard me say that the autobiography of Neville Goddard that is on the internet right now, it was not the original autobiography that was there before. They removed his Wikipedia for a certain reason. But I want you to read between the lines, and you will have to judge for yourself whether Neville Goddard was a true teller or he's actually a liar when it comes to his black mentor, Abdullah from Ethiopia. Now, you can decide for yourself if everything that he was saying is just a parody. Now, the question I want to ask you is that, what would you rather have? A black man being a mystic, presently speaking to you now, one that you can connect with now and have an interview with now, or you would rather listen to someone pointing to some historical figure with no evidence to prove that such person did exist, presenting to you a figure with no mother, no father, with no background, and not enough information. That alone will teach you that there have to be some hidden agenda. And remember, as I said before, they removed his Wikipedia, and I know what was there before. And the woman who was telling the story of herself going to the meetings with Neville, she knew what brotherhood he was involved with, and they make sure they remove that. And so there was a white man who reached out to me to do an interview. Okay, his name was Tom, and I think his YouTube channel was Divine Imagination, I think his name. I think that's the name. Okay, if that is not the name, I will definitely get the name and provide it down below for you. Okay, but I think that was the name. I think it was Divine Imagination, I think so. Okay, and he interviewed me just to ask me one question. One main question he wanted was to ask me was who Neville was speaking about when he said that Abdullah said to him, the brothers told me that you were coming. And I said to him, the brothers are those who are like-minded, are of the same mind. But I knew what he was getting at and what he wanted to know. Okay, now, for those who might be skeptical, okay, about what I am saying here, Neville Goddard family is still one of the ruling family in my country with their businesses. And there's a certain pattern that runs throughout this country and all the other islands, where certain people were in certain position, okay, and who have most of the wealth, you could trace their ancestry all the way back to Europe. And Neville family was basically from England. That's why he ended up in the Caribbean, because he was the son of a slave master. Okay, and many of the slave master children still a part of the ruling class in these islands. Okay, so the reason why I'm making this video is because I don't want you to be gullible and to follow the trend. That is why if you look on social media, you'll see so many videos that was done concerning Neville Goddard, but none concerning Abdullah, because Abdullah is a make-up figure. They knew that a black man will come forth being enlightened. A black man will come forth and reveal these things. And when that happens, they don't want you to see what is happening in the now. They always want you to have you looking backwards. And so they give you their story. And they want you to call it his story. Well, it is his story that he's giving you to look backward instead of looking in the now. Because time is an illusion. And they are doing the same thing as the ancestors do because that same DNA is in them. And I'm doing the same thing that my ancestors did, who refused to have a mentality of slavery or have any slavery mindset. Okay? That's why I'm exposing all of the lies. You see, the same people who use the Bible and interpret it to you as literal and secular history, they know the time will come when everything will be revealed. Because the earth would go through certain changes. And when the earth go through these changes, many melanated ones would become enlightened. And those who are of the mystical bloodline would find their mystical self and understand the mystical secrets hidden in the Bible and how the people been brainwashed through religion. So because they are keepers of time, they wait until this age of social media to make these things known to the public. So the people who are gullible, they will get caught up in the hype. Like for example, this guy Wayne Dyer, he made millions and millions and millions of dollars while this knowledge was hidden. And when Reverend Ike, who was a colored man, was trying to wake up his congregation concerning these teachings, there are men who are journalists who would go and interview him and try to tell him that he was greedy for having so many Rolls Royce. And also, the book that was written by Neville called Resurrection, they make sure they keep it hidden. But for those of you who are interested in getting my book called The Secret Vagina, Mystery of the Virgin Birth, I'll definitely encourage you to go and get it. Because you'll see what they don't want you to discover. That is why you don't hear them speaking much about the resurrection, the book that Neville wrote called Resurrection. Also, this book of mine is very much hated by most white people. Because when they read this book, they make sure they try to give it a bad review. They say this man is on a low vibration, he's on a low frequency. Because what I did, I used reverse psychology. Because if there was a real Abdullah, then he would have been sending a message to melanated people using reverse psychology. Because how could a man have such knowledge and living in the time of a Great Depression and knowing that his own people have been discriminated against and so on, and he will keep it a secret? The only black people that keep secret are those who join secret societies and fraternities. And these secret societies and fraternities, the founder of these secret societies are white men, like Prince Hall. Most of these secret societies that black people join themselves to, they base on Prince Hall. Okay? And so, for anyone to hold those kind of secret, it is people who have made certain pledges and maybe even blood covenants. Okay? And when I had my awakening experience, I was shown a certain person who would have passed on and they were still carrying secret while I was speaking certain things in the gym hall They were there seated, and I had an innate ability where I know that there was a part of a secret society here. So your soul is trapped because you're going to die with that secret. You're going to die with a conscience that haven't been made quite clear because you've been hiding something. So I've been warned with that. Also, when you look, as I said, in these colonial countries, you see a pattern of the people who hold the wealth. And most black people, that the people in the islands think that they are rich. They're just figureheads. They're not really rich. It's other people behind them. But they're not actually rich. The reason why I could say that was shown to me also in the dream world. So I know what they're doing. So, for example, in my country, I might try to teach someone something and try to tell them to look around and watch the pattern and tell them how much people that look like them own certain businesses and how much people that look like them is multi-millionaire. And they will call certain people name because those people are figurehead. They think those people actually are the ones who own those businesses because their names, all these things are on those businesses. But there are people in the dark that is running it. Same thing with Jamaica and all the different islands. The real owners don't show their face. Just like the real governments that run the world, they don't show their face. But they have the horse slaves. They have the politicians, they have the preachers. You have all of these kind of people to keep the people in line. And to keep them in a systematic form of slavery. That is why when you get caught up with the Neville Goddard hype, it's no different to you believing that there's a man who existed 2,000 years ago with blonde hair and blue eyes and he's going to come and save you. So what Neville did, Neville made sure he immortalized himself to get people to get caught up in a cult. Yeah. That is why there's so many YouTubers name with all different names. Some even calling that Neville God art. But they will never talk about the secret brotherhood. And many people who've been trapped in secular Christianity will think, well, he brought new light to them. No. If you go deeper, you'd realize that these writings have been around for a very long time. And this wisdom have always been around for a very long time. And when you found this kind of wisdom outside any secret brotherhood, is when you will discover the mystics are the highest. And you will understand why they put the eye above the pyramid and the US dollar is the eye of the mystic. The wise ones. The real seers. So I'm doing this video because I don't want people to get caught up with the hype and the lies. He wasn't being 100% truthful. As a matter of fact, if you go back to a video I did before concerning Richard Goddard, the death of Richard Goddard in Barbados, you see what I'm talking about. And if you want, I can get the link for you to show you it. And what was written in the newspaper. So when I tell you that they had owned slaves, don't doubt me. If you check back and you study the KKK and the Ku Klux and the Masons and all of these secret societies, you would always realize that they always have an agenda to keep the people blinded from knowing the truth about what is in the Bible, the real truth. Okay? And that is why, like in the KKK, you have people that is called Grand Wizard. Yeah, I know all these things because a part of my training to come into what I would have come into. I had to meet a man who was given to the world as a last day prophet. Was a part of the KKK and the Masons. And when I tell my brothers, they doubt me. And I was able to meet that man in Woodland. And I even shook his hand. Yeah. And I spoke with him in the Woodland. And I see what he was doing. And for me was to find him. I had to go ahead of him. Because night after night I would hear him, but I can't find him. I was like in a wilderness. But when I went ahead of him, I see what he was doing. So when he rests his foot there and he moves his foot, a chi will come forth. You get lost. So, my brother and my sisters, I'm going to do more videos like this. I want you to reach out to me to do more videos like this. Because this is the year that Neville Goddard must be exposed. Okay? And the truth must be known. When Cat Williams say that our lie would be exposed in 2025, that's not a joke. All lies will be exposed. You see what happened with Trump and the Epstein file and all of these things? All lies would be exposed. And the truth must be known. I know I'll rough for some fellas. I know I'll match some people can't because they're making these videos on the internet and they're doing it for a buck. So they're on this Neville Goddard gravy chain, making videos about Neville Goddard. But there's a lot of things that prove he was telling lies. Even when he speak about his family in a book and he wasn't mentioning his family and he was saying Ladad. Instead of saying Goddard, he said Ladad. And then come back later on and so on. But he just wanted us to incorporate a black man because they know that whenever black people start to wake up, that they will transcend faster than any other people on this planet. So their whole agenda is to have you always looking backwards. That's their whole agenda, not you looking at the present. So when your messengers and your mystics are right before your eyes, you wouldn't see your black mystic. You're looking for some Abdullah of years ago. You're looking for some historical Abdullah. Stop it. It's time to stop it. Okay, for a very, very long time I wanted to, really expose Neville, but not until my intuition moved me to do so, I decided to do so. Okay, I will show you all the things that doesn't add up. That's why they're coming up and saying, oh, it was Josiah Ford. They're coming up and they're saying, oh, they're coming up with something with this man, forgot his name. Okay, some Abdullah. I'm trying to remember the man name. Lanyan, some man Lanyan. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, they're trying to say this man Lanyan talk about Abdullah and all kind of things. Don't bother with them. Okay? All the things that have been hidden in these fraternity and secret society must be known. Because your own people have been selling you out. Okay? If you know anything about the black bully and all of these things, you know your own people have been selling you out. But it's time for you to take back your power. That's why I'm doing this video. Okay? I'm not doing these videos because I'm trying to get views or anything. I'm here to represent the truth. Because you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. So don't get caught up too much with the Neville Goddard hype. Okay? They still running Barbados and still running the islands and so on. Okay? And unless you people wake up, melanated people I'm speaking to, okay, you will always be controlled and be like a slave. That is why in 2020, when people are busy focusing their energy outward, they and call them and some savior to come and save them from the big scamdemic, the big pandemic, while they had loans and mortgages with the banks and the credit unions. I was drawing my girl attention to all the resorts they were building in all the different islands. They were planning well, building all these resorts and so on to continue the enslavement of the people because they know how they already set up the school system and the religious system And they already have the religious puppets to instill these things. So my brother and my sister, I can go on and on and on, but this is for you to take heed and realize that Neville Goddard wasn't so much of the truth teller that you think he is. If you are a melanated person, okay, when it comes to talking about Abdullah, I'm sending this message out to melanated people, because I know people who are privileged think that they are free, but privilege is not freedom. When the ancestors lie to you and they give you privilege and they never tell you the truth, when others come and start to tell you the truth, it will hurt your feeling, because you think people are trying to get on your privilege, but privilege is not freedom. I'm saying that freedom is needed for all, everyone. Even never talk about freedom for all, but you're not being 100% truthful. Okay? So my brothers and my sisters, I'm being 100% truthful to you when I bring this message to you. Neville Goddard must be stopped. It doesn't mean that people should stop posting up videos. They will continue to do it. But I'm telling melanated people to stop following such a hype. Okay? Don't get chick. So, with that being said, my brother and my sisters, I can go on and on and on. But if I'm going to come to a close, and I want to thank you very much for listening to me. I want to say to you, if this is the very first time that you're listening to me, I want to say if it makes sense, if it really resonates with you and you haven't subscribed already, I'm definitely encouraging you to subscribe, to like, to comment, and to share this video. Also, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, you'd like to follow me on TikTok, you can definitely follow me at Black Magic Guru. And if you'd like to get my book, The Black Mystic from Ethiopia, Neville Goddard, Mentor, you get it and read it and you will see why these Caucasian people don't like this book. Okay? Also, if you'd like to do a one-on-one with me, you can reach out to me by way of email, and we can set up that one-on-one on whatever platform you desire. Also, if you're not a part of my page and community and you like to become a part of my page and community, you're welcome. However, I have a course that's called the Inner Sun Science and Technology to Create Your Reality Consciously. And along with that is a bonus course on self-concept. And that is for people who are donating $20 or more on my page. And you have access to all of those videos to help you in your spiritual journey. Also, if you choose to book a one-on-one with me on an app called Feature, the link is down below. It is a religious app. I take the opportunity and I'm still teaching spirituality on that app. Okay? So if you want to book me on that app, you can feel free also. So, with that, Mr. My brother and my sisters, I can't remember if I mentioned all of my books, but once you check out The Black Mystic from Ethiopia, Neville Goddard, you'll see many other books. Okay? So, my last encouragement to you is to make sure that you check out all of the links that are down below. And definitely let your intuition lead you and guide you into what to do. So with that being said, I just want to say peace, love you all, out.